All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Carr, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of the 501(c) nonprofit hashtag I Can Help and Digital for Good. My background is in education. I taught middle school for 13 years out in Byron, California, not that far away. And then my co-founder, Matt Soth, was a teacher out West. We created this 10 years ago. We're here to hopefully educate and empower you on how to help your kids navigate this online world. So, I'm expecting you to take notes as a parent of what tools you will actually do, because everyone here can help. The question is, will you? So then you can actually write it down. So this is what I will do as a parent. So I'm give you enough tools to be able to walk away with. But just kind of get us started. What we do is we just really think about like the side by side, right? You're teaching your kid how to read. It's a hard thing to do. You had to help them decode the words and analyze the stories. How many of you guys were annoyed when you had to teach your kid how to read, right? Like you probably got frustrated. You wanted to scream. You wanted to yell and just tell them the word. Like that's exactly what it's like to teach them about social media. You have to be side by side with them. That's the only way. There's no secret app. There's no secret strategy of how to teach your kid about social media, except for sitting side by side with them to help them analyze the context and decode the message, right? Is this positive? Is this negative? Is this appropriate? Is this inappropriate? Like this is where we need parents to help be able to guide them on this, is by simply making sure we can walk with them through this, because children are being deprived. I mean, look at here. This is the is, right? Emotionally available parents. Like this is true. Like every parent is drained. Like they're exhausted. So it's like one more thing so they're having a hard time with. And then you can see those other things. Clearly define limits and guidance. I mean, think about it. How old are you supposed to be to have this device? Right? At what point? The suggested age is 13, but how many of you guys actually know someone who is under 13 who has a smartphone? So there is no guidance or limits. A lot of parents have actually come together and they actually join forces to basically say, make them wait, right? Make them wait until they're 13. Make them wait until they're freshmen in high school. Make them wait. Like you have to set up the guidance for that, right? You have to be the one who sets the limits. That's kind of the new piece. Responsibilities: balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, movement outdoors, creative play, social interaction, and downtime. These are all things that students are being deprived of. So I'm telling you the is. Now I'm going to hopefully give you what you can do, right? Because the other piece is social media is affecting their mental health. Like these are all real stats. 1 in 5 have some kind of mental health issue. Anxiety and depression have increased. But here's the thing is, what people don't realize is, yeah, it has increased because there's more awkward situations on these devices. When I send a text message to the wrong person, my anxiety goes up. I freak out. I'm like, this is embarrassing, right? When my phone is about to die and I'm in like there's no things around, like I'm in a relevance, I freak out because I'm like panicking that my phone's about to die, right? So there's anxiety goes up. These are all just isn't. Here's the thing: when I was this age, the stats that were high were teenage pregnancy, alcohol, and drugs. But guess what? With education, we were able to bring those numbers down. So we need to make sure we're doing proactive and making sure we get people on the same page to kind of help this data, right? And you can see the 45.5 hours each week in front of a digital screen for 8 to 28-year-olds. Number one question gets asked is, how much time should my kid be on the screen? The answer I'm going to tell you is there's no correct answer because every kid is different of how much you can consume. I mean, think about it. How much food can you eat? Everyone is different with how much food they can eat, right? How much negative news can you watch before you have to say, this is too much for me, right? My mom, it's very little. With me, I can watch a little bit. My dad can definitely watch a lot. Like it doesn't bother him. So it's just that kind of conversation that you need to set up with your kid on what they can do, right? The big issue is a lot of people, things are happening, and then parents are not knowing what lane they should be in, where they should be taking this stuff to. This actually is a house party. There's not in a school. No one's wearing a school attire. They're definitely in a garage. But right there, it's right away, it's a school issue. Now the school needs to deal with it. This didn't happen at school, so how is this now the school issue, right? At what point is it going to go back to the parents? So we need to get the parents to make sure that they're helping and helping be a part of this conversation of what they're posting. Because it is, it's like figuring out what is your lane, right? What's your lane? What's the school's lane? When something does go down at school, like giving the school enough time knowing where you need to be so that they can handle it, because schools have to kind of go down like this to handle emergency situations where social media is kind of crazy. And so it takes a little longer for them to get them the information that you need because they have to go through the protocols. So know your lane, right? When we teach students how they can help, right? When we empower them and educate them, they're able to do these things. So within 1 year, school year, this is the kind of the data we're getting, that they are turning, negative pages in, just turning in school threats to us. They're helping us take down negative pages every single year. This is what they are doing, and they're actually helping us create the positive content, which that's what we're teaching them, is how to use digital for good. Right, our nonprofit empowers student change makers. We promote digital safety, and then the last one, people, adults always forget about, is celebrating. Right, celebrating their things. So if your kid comes to you with a negative page, if they come to you with a problem online, 48% of students do not turn to adults for help online. The number one reason for middle school students is they're afraid their device is going to get taken away. The number one reason high school students don't come to adults is because snitches get stitches. Like, that's been around since you and I have been this age, right? So we need to celebrate when they actually do something right. They come to us instead of just always freaking out, right? So just those kind of conversations we need to make sure we're remembering. So they're going to be sending out a link with the parental guidelines. So we'll follow that during this presentation. So the first one in the parental guidelines is follow or friend your child, right? On any of the things that they use. So it's this kind of thing. If you want to know who your kid hangs out with in real life, you should also know who your kid hangs out with online. So knowing what these are, do you even know what they actually have downloaded on their apps? What's their favorite apps? Where are they spending most of their time? So if you don't know them, you got the top left is Instagram. Then you've got Discord. You got YouTube. Even what are they taking pictures? What are they taking videos of? You got WhatsApp app, which a lot of people are using if they have international friends, right, in Mexico or wherever else. It's easier to text that way for free. And you got TikTok. Even who are they texting? Who are they in group chats with? Twitter, even email, Google Docs, right? All that can be considered social media. You got Roblox and any kind of gaming streams. They can talk on the headsets like Fortnite, right? They can communicate. They can chat in the chat box. They can communicate on their headphones. You got Snapchat. Inside Snapchat, there's a thing called YOLO, right? And then there's Twitch, which is another gaming app, and a new one that came out this past year and a half is Be Real, right? So knowing what those things are and how we can handle those. So again, if you know who your kid hangs out with in real life, you should know who they're hanging out with online. Number two is going on a regular basis of what information they should not share online. This is a big one because we forget, even as adults, we sometimes forget. So there's all the things they should not be sharing, right? It's a great conversation starter. Respect and protect your privacy, and also protect and respect other people's privacy. So if somebody asks you for so-and-so's phone number, teaching them hey, I probably should ask this person before I just give this number out, right? It's respecting and protecting people's privacy. It's also having conversations about what they're sharing. Like, here's 3 students who actually lost scholarships because of what they put up online, right? Everyone wants to know who they get before they get them now, including employees, including colleges, right? So it's a great conversation to have because social media is 100% your resume for life, even as an adult. I was trying to rent Airbnb. They now ask me for my social media handle because if I try to rent on Airbnb, because they're having so many issues of people having parties, they want to know, because if they get up 3 times from having too many parties, they no longer can rent on Airbnb, right? So social media is your resume for life. A fun way you can do this, right? A fun way you can do this to have that conversation with your kid is, how have you ever thought about your footprint, right? Can you Google search yourself? Because when you Google search me, I did not know for a long time that I was a risky book author, right? #1 best-selling author in New York. I wish I made that money, but this is the thing, is some author chose my name to be their book name, right? So every month when Amazon has a deal for 99 cents for these books, my friends think it's hilarious to send me my new book, right? So it's a fun thing to Google search yourself, even Google search your family, because then you can see you have a footprint because you have been around longer. Their footprint is still kind of small, right? So they don't understand that. So it's just a fun way to have a laugh about it and have that conversation. Okay. Number 3 is know your child's passwords, right? On their device, social media accounts. This is important. A lot of times, if you think about it, it's like a diary. I'm not expecting you to go and unlock the diary to go read their diary, right? But here's the thing: if you think something's happening or something's going wrong, you now have access to it to be able to help. So I'm going to show you, I don't usually like sharing these because I don't like doing the whole shock value, but this keeps happening that I want to make sure you think about, right? So here's these seniors, they think they're looking cute, right? They're trying to take that cute picture. And with all these students, it is turned out super cute, but unfortunately, a few of them did this separately where they spelled out a new word. They sent it to one person on Snapchat. That one person thought it was funny, took a screenshot of it, and sent it to somebody else, but then that person then made it bigger. Now it's spread across school. Well, of course, people don't think this is funny, and now they're wanting them expelled, right? So here's the thing: if that parent had access to their child's Snapchat, they could have then the ones where they sent it to the first person, they put it up on their story. So if that parent had her passcode to their Snapchat account, it would have gotten taken down. But because when they do investigations, the first thing that gets taken away is their devices. Now they can't have access to their Snap. They can't get in. So even your kids probably should have access to your social media accounts in case something happens to you that they can quickly get in, right? So just having that conversation. I just dealt with this one in Pittsburgh, California, this year at Christmas time. Sorry, not Christmas, Halloween. The kid thought it was funny. You can tell they're definitely in the hallway at the end of the stairway, so no staff is around. They quickly pull this out and just take this one picture. And again, they put it up on their story. When schools kind of got notified, their devices are getting taken away. They couldn't have access to take it down, so more people were able to get screenshotted. They finally were able to get it down, but it definitely took longer. So just making sure, do you have your kids' accounts? Now, my mom never searched my room unless it was needed. But if she thought something was going on, then she had the right to come in and check my room if she thought I was stealing. So same thing, you have all the right to check your kids' phones to see what they're doing, and it needs to be done. And I'll show you some fun ways you can do it because it's that kind of conversations we need to have with our kids. So number 4 is setting limits, monitoring your child's mobile use, text messages on a regular basis, right? Are you seeing how many text messages, how much data they're using, right? Kind of understanding what that is. So first one is schools have Wi-Fi. They set it up where a lot of other things are restricted. But when they go home, it's now on your Wi-Fi, so you need to make sure you're restricting your Wi-Fi, right? So this is AT&T. You can actually restrict a lot of things. You can do permitted websites, which you should definitely do. Pornhub. You should be doing those kind of different sites because it is a huge issue with males checking out Pornhub now, right? You can also restrict time settings. So you can have it where there's no Wi-Fi right when they get home, so that they're focusing on getting their homework done or their chores. And then you can have it shut off at 10 p.m. and it cannot get back on until 7 a.m. so they can actually sleep in, right? So you have all that power to do that on your Wi-Fi. This is an app a lot of my friends use, actually a lot of schools use. It's called GoGuardian. And so there's a free version, or else I think it's like $9 a month or something like that. But what happens is it'll flag you. So if your kid makes any kind of comments, this one is because it was, what do you get flagged for? You got to be flagged for weapons. He was searching about medieval time weaponry, right, for school research. And then this one, he was searching paintball guns, right? So this got flagged. Well, then what happens is it sends an email to the parent saying this is what they were searching. It tells you exactly what they're searching. If there's any kind of suicidal weaponry, inappropriate language, sexting, right? That kind of conversations, those things get flagged. The cool thing about this that the parents have taught me is they're like, yeah, I did the free account. My kid got so used to having to explain himself whenever he was doing something. I actually if once it's wanted me to pay, I just pretend like it was getting flagged and the kid would come and turn into him. Another parent says that they know like how to break those kind of systems. But they just log in with a new email account, right? So just kind of fun ways to kind of help you with that because it is overwhelming. Fun way to have that conversation about where they're spending their time, right? So you can monitor it is have a dinner conversation. Pull out your phones. And if you have an iPhone, this kind of sets it up. You can check your screen time. If you have a Samsung or a Google phone, it's under digital wellness, right? So same thing can happen. So all you do is look up digital wellness. But on iPhones and screen time, you can actually see my daily average 6 hours and 57 minutes, right? And everyone's like, ooh, that might be high. So who's got the highest? Who's got the lowest? It's not to shame anybody, right? Because my usage is different than everybody else's because of what I do for a living, right? And so what's neat, I can actually go to the next one, and I can see my week as well. I can go to the next one. I can actually see where I'm spending my time. So if you actually see it, I'm actually spending 4 hours and 49 minutes on Waze, which is my direction thing, because I get lost because I travel for a living, right? So that's where most of my time is being spent. It's a kind of an easy way, because then it's like a conversation of like, if you weren't feeling good this week, that means something was stressing you out. Can you eliminate some of your screen time? Because that has proven that your mental health gets better when you can decrease your screen time. So it's a fun way to be able to have that conversation. Okay. Another way you can do it is, are you monitoring your kids, right? Monitoring, are their accounts private or public? Knowing the difference between private and public. If it is private, it says my stuff belongs to me. I have control over who gets to see it, right? Who's actually getting to see their private content. If their account is public, that's basically saying anybody can see my stuff, anybody can use it however they want, right? So any company can come use it, any newspaper can come use it, any creeper can come use it however they want, right? So it's just making sure they understand the difference between private and public, but you as a parent, guardian, can kind of do that. So this is TikTok. Are you checking, is their stuff private accounts, right? This is on private. Allowing others to find me is on. They can find that person, but then they can actually even set up like who can post comments, who can duet, who can react to me, and who can send me messages. So over here, you can choose either everyone, friends, or off, right? So that's all the different things that they can set up as on TikTok. You would actually have to go to your child's phone and do it from their phone to make sure it's set up. And then you can actually enable like the digital wellness screen time to turn it on. You can turn it on restricted mode, put in a passcode, and then enable it. Don't forget the password or else they will change it. All right, so simple things you can do on TikTok. Fun thing that you can do, this is neat. This year, I think it was in September, Snapchat came out with Family Center. Here's what it is, it's super cool. If you have Snap on your phone, your child has Snap, okay, your child's name is Zoe. What you're gonna do is you're gonna send Zoe a Family Center request. Zoe then has to accept it. When Zoe accepts it, here's what happens. Here is your view, and here is Zoe's view. You're seeing exactly who Zoe is sending messages to and at what time. A lot of these students are getting snaps at 2 a.m. So now you can have a conversation. Hey, why are you getting a snap with Megan Levi, right, at 2 a.m.? You can now be like, hey, who is Kevin, or who is Carlos Boozer? Like, who's this guy, right? And then you can actually flag. The flag is there for you to actually go report. So they call it family centers instead of calling parental controls, because they don't want parents to control. They want you to have conversations. They know about privacy. They want kids to have their, like, having those kind of privacy moments, but having conversations with the parents are super important, okay? Watch your child for potential signs of abuse or addiction, right? This is important. Are they using it too much? 50% of students and adults are addicted to their device. So are you watching for this, right? So how can you do that? So here's a story. I actually shared this when I came to the school, is Bailey. Bailey wanted the story to go viral. She goes, yeah, you want to see how my day goes? My day goes like this. I get dressed and looking great. And then later on, someone takes a picture of the back of my legs, they circle it, and they caption it thick. How many of you guys actually think this is messed up, right? If your hand is raised, you can help. The question is, will you? Because not one person went to Dylan, who's the one that posted it up on Snap, saying, dude, this is messed up. You train people how you're going to be treated by how you allow others to be treated, right? Not one person went to Bailey saying, are you okay? I got your back. I saw a Dylan post about you. That was messed up. We need to have more people's backs and train our students how to have people's backs, right? And not one person goes screenshot this to turn to adults to let them know this is even going on. Again, 48% of students do not turn to adults for help online. She then had to text her mom, hey mom, can you get close? Right? Because she's been telling her mom this is going on. Her mom's got the annoyed parent voice, like, you, what are you going on? Right? If I have time. She now has to explain to her, I'm in a dress. They're making fun of me. They're taking pictures. I want to change. Now her mom changed her tone. Do you have shoes? I'll be there in 7 minutes. What we're doing is we're teaching students how to be what we call digital first responders. They're the first ones to the scene, right? They're the first ones there. You don't get to see all their text messages. You don't get to see all their snaps or what they see on TikTok. So you're teaching them how to handle these awkward situations, these inappropriate situations. Again, sitting side by side with them, walking them through. Is this appropriate? Is this inappropriate? Does this person need help? Teach them about being a digital first responder, just like if there was a car accident, you'd hopefully have them call 911. How do you have them control it, right? Giving them things like what works for you, right? What works for you? What works for you might not work for them. These are all examples of what students have said that they do to kind of help with their wellness, their digital wellness piece. All of my group chats are 100% on mute. They overwhelm me. I do not like them, but my best friend, she likes having them on. Like she thinks it doesn't bother her, right? So what works for her doesn't work for me always. I've actually had students who flat out said they no longer have their phone in their room because they have lacked sleep for so long. They actually put their phones in their parents' bedroom, right? They're like, it's too much of addiction. So this is the best tip a lot of parents take away is no longer have your kids' phones in the room, because if it's an addiction, if they were alcoholic, would you leave alcohol in their rooms, right? It's too much of a temptation. Can't get out of that. It includes phones and even gaming consoles, right? So all their remote controls should go into your room, right? Simple steps you can do to help them with that control of addiction. We walked them through an emotional first aid kit. It just talks about like when they do get stressed, like this is normal. So there's just 6 steps you can do if they have that. So the first one is sound, right? They can create playlists. So the biggest thing for you is if you go pick up your kid after school or even after practice, if you're picking them up, you can see their stress. Like, do they like to calm down? Like, should you have certain kind of calming music? Do they like a certain song that will kind of boost their mood? Figure out what that is and create like playlists on your phone for that when they're having that there, right? The second one is sight. Hey, what's their screensaver? Like if they're in a bad mood, tell them to pull up a picture to kind of change their mood that kind of then show you because it'll make them smile, right? Touch is just simple things like getting them a fuzzy blanket, right? Smells. What are their favorite smells? A lot of times during finals, a lot of parents actually realize smells make a difference. So they actually do bake like home baked goods around their finals because it makes them to kind of calm down. It is medically proven that lavender and mint calm people down. So they just put it on their hands, on their neck, on their feet. It will calm them down. Even tea in the mornings, right, can kind of calm students down. A lot of parents have been buying essential oils for their kids to help them with those things. Even humans, like who are your kids' humans? Who do they go to? Like even sharing who you go to when you're stressed, right? When you need to go vent, sharing with them who your people are, it helps them process who their people are. And a lot of parents get upset if they're not their kid's person. It is okay if you are not. My mom is definitely not my person because she has so much anxiety. I don't like going to her with things because it just gives her more anxiety. So she just now knows, have you gone to your person to go talk to them? Right? So she cues me to go talk to my person when she knows I'm having a stressful week. And then the last one is taking action. Like you're going to get stressed. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel a little sad, right? Like those are all natural emotions that humans have. So how can you take power back by owning it? But then what can you go do to kind of calm yourself down? Is it go for a walk? Is it to go for a run? Is it to bake? Is it to listen to music, right? What is your thing? What is your kids' thing? Share yours. Have your kids share theirs. Number 6 is checking their privacy, right? Their security and their GPS settings on their phone and social media. This is important, like, because a lot of families have different thought process. So let me just have you pull out your phones. And we did this activity, I think we did it with the students. Just go to your photos, and I'm going to go to photos, and we call this one photo roulette. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll, right? So roulette. When I say stop, you're going to land your thumb on a picture. So ready and stop. You're then going to pop that picture open, right? And then you got to turn and explain yourself of what that picture is, right? I honestly have to look and see what it is. But second step, I think it's a high school person. I'm not really sure what this is. Okay, anyhow, explain it. Then second step is you're going to swipe up. And it's actually times it, dates it, logs, and locates. So I know I took this picture on Friday, October 14th, 2022, and I saved it from, it's one of my classmates. I went home for my homecoming. But here's the interesting thing is now what's happening is it actually even does facial recognition search. Those 2 circles is it can actually tell me if any other pictures that person is in. If it has a dog in it, it'll actually say dog. And you can actually click that. It'll go to Google search. It'll tell you what kind of dog it is. Like this is the power these devices now have, right? And so if your location is on, right now this one says add location. If I click that, it'll pop open a map because I have my locations off right now. It'll tell me exactly where I was when I took this picture, right? So just knowing if your locations are on check if your kids are on. It's a fun way to do it. There's been cool ways that people have used locations, that it can be used in a creepy way too, right? So just knowing the difference on that, okay? Because this other one is your kids' privacy on? This is also TikTok, right? And so just making sure you're checking those different things. Here's Snap Maps, right? Your kid can have it on ghost mode. They can do it for 3 hours, 24 hours, or until turned off, right? So just knowing I can select certain friends. That's how I have it. I think I have allowed 6 of my friends can see my location. My nieces, they're now 20. They're very particular about who gets to be in their Snapchats. Trust me, I've seen them actually tell people, no, you cannot follow me on Snap. Like you can follow me on Instagram, but not on my Snapchat, because they only want certain people because they like having their Snap Maps open to everybody, right? So is that something I suggest to everybody? Nope, because again, they can be really particular on who they let into their Snaps. Okay. So if you're in doubt, you just leave it. Like don't use it, right? So just an easy thing on that end. Number 7 is discuss with your child about who they friend, right? Something simple, like again, do you actually know who they friend? Because they are following these kind of accounts, like this one's called Davis High School Roast, and then they're roasting these people. This student's mom actually is the one that reached out to us with this page because their son has special needs. He doesn't even have an Instagram account, but they have this page where they're roasting people. They had 178 people following it. But of course, it says all these people gave me consent, right, to roast. Definitely didn't, because this kid doesn't even have social media. So there's 178 people. All I have to do is click on that. It tells me every single person's name. So this is exactly what admin does. This is what a lot of law enforcement do, is they take pictures of who's following the account, who's the account following, because somebody guarantee you knows something that goes back to this account. So are you checking your kid's account of who they're following, right? Also gaming. There's a lot of crazy things that happen on gamers. What they say on their headphones, what they're saying on in their conversation. So the biggest thing, if your kid is a gamer, if they're, I would actually suggest to not put their gaming consoles in their bedrooms. If they are, have the doors are open so you can actually hear how they're having conversations. I'm a competitive person, but at what point can I be competitive? But when have I crossed the line of making inappropriate comments like this? Making sure you're being involved on that end too, right? How can students be part of the solution? You need to train them how to respectfully comment, right? So here's a junior in high school. She actually saw a post on Facebook. It was in one of those like town pages. Actually, it was in Brentwood, not too far away, where these teenagers got into a car accident, and they started making fun of the teenagers, like, oh, these teenagers, they were probably listening to music, they don't know how to drive, right? Making all kinds of bashing comments about teenagers. It took a junior in high school to go on there and respectfully comment. So she said this: hey, I'm a girlfriend of the teen in that car. If you could please stop with negative comments, we really appreciate it. The boys are very hurt, and as a community, we should be praying that they get better, right? She's teaching them. So a lot of people actually deleted their comments, but it 100% changed the tone of the conversation. Having that, it took a student to do this. Training students how to respectfully comment. It's funny because when we do this, they actually go and respectfully call out a lot of their grandparents about what they're posting. Okay. Because if you want to be kind online, you're not going to be a kind of person. If you're not a kind of person, you're not going to be kind online. Here's some adult humor for you, so go ahead and read that for me. Make sure you laugh out loud. And again, it goes back to, do you know who your kid is hanging out with online? Right. All right, here we go. Number 8, let's talk about what a negative or inappropriate comment, picture, or post is. This is important. Again, is this cross the line? Is this positive? Is this negative? Here's a page called this girl's name, school slut. Is this appropriate? Is this positive or negative? Is this appropriate or inappropriate? You need to give them some examples, either on your page or on their page. And then what can they do about it? They're teaching them how to respectfully comment. These students respectfully commented. They actually use the hashtag help. Here's what the hashtag help is. It's basically like a Batman signal, like, dude, I'm here to remind you, you've kind of crossed the line of being inappropriate, rude, and flat out cruel. But how many of you guys have ever wanted to say something, but you didn't know what to say, right? It's awkward. So the hashtag help is just an easy way of be able to say, like, you're being a jerk without having to say you're being a jerk, right? So simple ways to kind of help with that awkwardness. Parenting is hard, right? And what we're doing online is parenting is hard. And so people they'll go on there and be like, oh yeah, I fear the day that technology will take on our humanity. The world would be populated by a generation of idiots. Like this kind of adults are saying to adults. But in all reality, here's what was happening in that picture was this parent was actually spending more than 20 hours sitting in the airport with this 2-month-old and was actually texting her mom the entire time about her other toddler who was also sick at home, right? This is how we treat each other. This is actually a positive one where this parent was in the bathroom, but of course, we want to the woman in Hobby Lobby, right? I hadn't had my hands full, so she was actually complimenting this parent for making her kid do push-ups for back talk. And so they were actually complimenting this parent. But here's my question back. At what point do we need to talk to your kid about that we don't even need to post? Like when we see people doing things that why do we need to capture every single moment? So again, this is that side by side, just like reading a book, sit side by side, showing them real moments of, is this appropriate? Is this inappropriate? Is this positive? Is this negative? Is this even necessary, right, to even post? Number 9 is communicate openly with your child about social media, right? I think this is important. This is part of their daily life. Like it's 100% their life. So it is, it's like perception versus reality. It's like, oh, I wish I had this life. Oh, they've got it so great. When all reality, she's actually in front of a bulletin board at a hospital, definitely not living this best life. So we compare ourselves to. I mean, think of our family photos. You take all these family photos and your kids are smiling, but on the inside of their head, they're going, Mom, are you done taking the picture yet? Right? We all pretend. We all have different things. We follow Pinterest. We've all had Pinterest fails. So it's just that kind of conversation because humans react, right? They react to images. They react to headlines. We make reactions. This is exactly what the media does to us. They know you react to images. They know you react to headlines. They want you to click because every click buys them money, gives them money, right? So your perception of reality depends on what you see, what you're shown. It's also by what you're told. Okay, so it is having those conversations back to how do you handle these awkward situations? These are all student answers of what students have said and like, how do you handle a group chat when it gets out of control? What do you do if the group chat's out of control? You left the group chat, but then someone brought you back into the group chat. Like, how do you handle that? The only way you can handle it is you have to go face to face that person saying, hey, I left this group chat for this reason. So walking them through, hey, how do you handle it if somebody asks you for inappropriate photos? Is your kid ready for that? How are they supposed to handle that? What can you do? Number 1 answer on here is don't reply, leave them on red. My favorite one is my mom checks my phone, right? They gave them real suggestions. A lot of parents want them to come to their parents, an adult, a trusted adult, but is that the number 1 answer from students? No. But you still want to tell them that, right? So having those conversations of what they can do, because yes, they get asked for nudes, simple snap with a question mark, right? This happened to my niece when she was in 8th grade. She was 13. She actually took the photos. If you are under 18, if you take any picture yourself with little to no clothing, little clothing can include pajamas, swimsuit, or underwear. If you take it in a certain kind of way, it can be considered as child pornography. Is it okay to take pictures in a swimsuit? Yes. But if you focus on a certain area, that's when it can be child pornography. My niece had to go down to the police station with her devices. She got a charge because she sent the content. She created the content, right? Whoever sent it out, there was a guy who sent it out, he got a larger charge. And the person who had it possessed on their devices also got a charge. So we team up with students to have that conversation. Hey, if you don't want this to happen, you can help. The question is, will you? So a couple students got together. We sat down with them, some guys and girls, and they created this. Like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to send this photo? Are you sure you can trust the recipient? Are you sure they are who they claim to be? Are you sure you want to give them something over your head? Give them something to hold over your head for more personal compromising images? Are you sure they won't threaten to share them with your entire contact list? Are you sure you want to give them that much power? Right? So just realizing this is huge. This is not just with nudes. This is also with memes, like racial memes. That's super important to know. I've had 9 cases in the past 4 months with freshman or sophomore boys. So this is not just with girls, where basically they were catfished into thinking they were talking to a girl, and they weren't. They were convinced to send them either a photo or a video of them doing something inappropriate. And then they basically got what's called sextortation, where basically they were blackmailed, hey, give me $500 or I'm going to send this photo or video to your top 3 contacts. If they didn't send it to them, they then said, I'm going to send this to your top 6. So this literally has happened locally in this area to at least, we've worked with several cases. They've all been males. They've all been freshmen and sophomores. Here's my tip. if this happens, your kids need to feel comfortable coming to you to tell you. They need to tell a trusted adult. Turn their phones on airplane mode because it makes it shows that you're inactive, so the cops can get involved, so the cops can do something about it. Every single time it's happened, it has not been someone in the U.S. It's someone from a different country who is doing this because they know they can't get caught because it's only $500, and really the person who's creating it can get more in trouble than they can. So it's just, this is the kind of stuff that's out there, making sure you know how to handle it and that your kid has the right tools. Know the trends, right? What are the trends on social media and gaming? Okay, because it's so important. Like, this has been around for a long time, but on Snapchat, there's a thing called My Eyes Only, and they're using it. So what that is they can put access to code. They put the code in, and only they can see what's in there. That's where they're My Eyes Only. If they haven't accessed it, over here it says camera roll, My Eyes Only. If there's no passcode, that means they have not accessed it. That means they don't have anything in their My Eyes Only. So just know that that's a trend, that they use that on that piece. The other thing is, I think it's good to tell them positive trends. Like, what are the other students doing to use it for good? So that's what we do, is we have an event where we get to showcase how people are using it for good, right? So these all students, let's see, Axel's got a podcast. Donovan is a spoken poet. Armida wrote a book about financial literacy, right? So just, we're showing them how students are actually using it for good, and then we're celebrating. How do you take down? Like, I think this is important for parents. This will get sent out to you from your staff here. And these are all hyperlinks to all these accounts. So I don't have Discord to go report. I can go click on that and I can go report right on that site. We need parents to help report. We need students to help report. If you think it's inappropriate, we need your help to report. Pro tip, you sometimes have to report it more than one time. Okay, so sometimes I've gotten things to me, I've had to report it up to 5 or 6 times before it finally came down. So just realize that is a pro tip, because sometimes they just don't have to go see it. There are real people who are looking at every single post. This over here is all hyperlinks from the parent guidelines, so you can see more about the Family Center if you want to get to know that. And then this is hyperlinks for law enforcement. If there is a school threat, if there's a suicide thing, they can go directly to those links on those sites. So that's what we do, is we bridge the gap between the student schools and then the tech companies to help us create that for schools to make them safer. Just to kind of give you an idea of does it break policy, right? To walk you through 3 different pages. This first one is like a sleeping account. This was kind of popular last year. So these students are like passed out. You can't see their faces. So if this was adults, I will be honest, this would probably stay up. But because they are minors, and even though I can't see their face, if I went to the school, I could recognize them. And so when you're hurting someone's reputation, that's called slander. So yes, every slander can be a court case. Any screenshot can be used in court. So that's why this one was able to take it down, because I could recognize them. Their reputation was being hurt. This middle one, bad parking. This is another big trendy one that students are doing, where they're taking pictures of bad parkers, putting it up on their page. I'm gonna be honest with you, this one would not come down, right? This is freedom of speech. I don't like bad parkers. I have that right to say that. The interesting part, though, because we train students how to be digital first responders, Jackson actually DM'd the account because he was a bad parker. It said, hey, can you respect and protect my privacy? My license plate is being shown. They actually started blurring out everyone's license plates to be able to kind of share it up. So again, you're teaching kids how to say you're respecting and protecting. Please respect and protect my privacy. The last one is school IDs. This 100% will come down quickly because it has students' pictures, it has their full names, and has their student ID, right? So it's all information sharing. So it's walking students through on that end. I'll make sure this goes out in that PowerPoint as well. But if you just take your phone, or like I said, it'll be in the things. This is a test to see if you can pass on your social media skills. Yes, my counselors over here are going to test it. We're going to see who gets the best. I'll make sure that they get a prize of whoever's the smartest for it. This was actually created because we had calls with TikTok, Snap, Instagram, and our interns were on a call, and then they made this to test parents and educators out. Are you on the same page? We're finding out that they're not doing the best at the scores because they didn't realize a lot of the things that these tech companies are doing to help them make them safer, right? They don't even know what the suggested age is. So take this test, see how you do. And then your other test is taking your notes. So at the end, you have to be able to say, oh, let me go back. Did you get it? So the other test is going to be is what will you do, right? So everyone in here can help. I've given you a lot of great notes. I went through 10 parent guidelines, right? But going back is, if you didn't get something on there, going back to the original thing where it says what kids are lacking. What they're lacking is, let me give you some other pro tips of what you can do, right? Make sure they're spending one day outside a day, right? So they're off their devices. Second one is let them be bored. It is okay that they are bored. They're not going to like it, but it's okay. They will survive. You will survive. All right. Daily technology free time. It's important for you to have this. Maybe during your TV time, because what's happening is you're having TV time as a family, but everyone's on their devices, and so no one's having that thing. Or at dinner time, when is yours? Help them be social with their peers. What I mean by this is you almost have to like not completely schedule their play dates for them, but help them schedule their play dates. Like, hey, have you called Cameron yet to schedule? Like, why don't you ask Cameron to come over for dinner at 6? You have to teach them what to say because they don't know how to socialize. This comes naturally for you. It does not come naturally for them because of these devices. They're born that way. Okay. Give them responsibilities and chores. This is important. By the time they're in high school, they should know how to do their laundry, right? They should know how to make their bed. Give them responsibilities. They need it. It will help. Talk to them in the car. This is your one place. You have them trapped. They're in their car. You shouldn't have their headphones on. Talk to them then. This is the best place to have those conversations, to ask them questions, not interrogate, but ask them questions. On the back of the parent guidelines, I do have questions you can ask kids, but again, it's not an interrogation process. They will shut down. They will not tell you, but if you ask them like you're just truly are inquiring, they'll want to know. Let them be part of the solution. If they do get in trouble for their device or they're using it too much, tell them your concerns. Go home with it after you've had this, watch this thing. Hey, I'm concerned you're on your phone too much. Can we come up with a solution? Right? And make them help you come up with a solution for it. Set boundaries, just like you would for food. When are they allowed, like time they should have their phone out? And then listening and talking openly. I think that's the biggest one I hear students say is like, we just want more adults to listen and not to want to give us advice all the time or fix our problems. It truly is just to listen. And then teach by example, right? Hey, I have my phone out. I have my phone out because I'm waiting for this phone call, or I'm putting my phone away because I actually want to spend quality time with you and I want to be engaged, right? So you need to teach by example. And then reconnect with them. This is important. You need to reconnect with them with ways that you don't have the device, and then also ways that you have the device and they're teaching you something on their device. Those are all some pro tips. If you don't know what you guys can do, that can help you kind of fill out your answers. There's 3 ways because we are a nonprofit to kind of support us because we need to be self-sufficient and keep going in order to keep making this happen. So support our program by either donating, right? You can do that on our website. You can be an adult volunteer. You can encourage your student to come be a volunteer with us. We have the student intern program. It's huge. And then the last one is, go to our store. You can shop online and buy our swag to kind of help that. That's a big way that we can do it. So I'm just making sure you guys do see it. So the question back to you is, everybody in here can help. The question is, will you? So does it that you will do? And if you need cheat sheets, don't worry. I'm a credentialed teacher still. I'll give you some answers. So here's some answer key lines. These people went above and beyond with their answers. So this one's, I'm going to spend 1 hour a day outside. I'm going to have a tech-free family time. They're going to listen, talk openly, and they're going to do restrictions for their settings, right? So simple things, this one so they can stay in their lane. So what is it you will do? Put that down. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, you can take a look at our website, icanhelp.net. And we're here to support because everybody needs some support to walk these students through Digital for Good. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Have a great night.